Okay, so something really profound is happening in the South Bay of Los Angeles. And it's not your typical boom or bust story. Not at all. It's more like a tale of two completely different economies living right next to each other. One is just blasting off into the future, while the other, well, it's hitting a brick wall. So today, we're going to break down this dual speed economy and figure out what it actually takes to win. This slide really just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you have the hard tech and aerospace corridor. We're talking Torrance, Hawthorne, El Segundo. It's absolutely flush with capital, and it's being supercharged by AI and defense spending. But on the other side, you've got the traditional backbone, retail and commercial office space. And as we're seeing, that whole world is looking incredibly fragile, maybe even obsolete. This isn't just a gap, folks. It's a chasm. So let's start with this side of the economy that's feeling some immense pressure. Let's call it the crumbling foundation. The source report we're pulling from points out some really telling cracks in the old way of doing business. And this is where the data starts to get personal. Ragin' Cajun Cafe, a spot in Redondo Beach that people have loved for over 3 decades, is shutting down for good. I mean, that's a cultural loss for sure, but it's also a huge economic signal. Independent businesses are facing these impossible pressures from rent, labor, and inflation, and because of it, we're literally watching the fabric of the community change. It's not just the small businesses either. This slide just perfectly captures this sense of, physical vulnerability. A car actually crashed into the Deloitte building in Manhattan Beach, and it caused major structural damage. The economic report we're using calls this a potent metaphor, and it's just perfect. The very foundations of our old commercial world are being tested both literally and figuratively. And the warning signs are just popping up everywhere. Apartment rent growth across Los Angeles has totally flatlined at just 0.1%. That tells you we've hit an affordability ceiling. We're seeing these major lawsuits over unpermitted fix and flip renovations in Torrance, which could put a serious chill on the residential market. These are not isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a system that's under enormous strain. But while one foundation is cracking, another one is being built with what feels like rocket fuel. So let's flip to the other side of this story, the unstoppable force of the hard tech boom that's completely reshaping the entire region. The scale of this new economy is just staggering. I mean, look at this. Skyrise and El Segundo just hit a valuation of over $1.15 billion. They're a brand new unicorn. You've got Navitas and Torrance building the literal power sources for the AI revolution. And then, of course, there's SpaceX, which is essentially creating a future of orbital computing right out of Hawthorne. This isn't just growth, it's a complete paradigm shift. And this number right here just brilliantly illustrates the technology gap. Navitas unveiled a new power platform that's 98.5% efficient. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but for an AI data center that uses as much electricity as a small city, that tiny improvement saves millions and enables a whole new level of computing power. This is the kind of hyper-specific, game-changing innovation that's driving this new economy. So, what does this new economy actually want? Well, it doesn't want generalist real estate agents or, all-purpose business consultants. These new titans, SpaceX, Skyrise, Navitas, they need specialists. They need commercial real estate brokers who are experts at finding secure, high-power density locations for their new data centers. They need lawyers who specialize in FAA regulations for autonomous flight. They need financial advisors who get the unique compensation structures of pre-IPO aerospace engineers. The days of being a jack-of-all-trades in the South Bay, they're numbered. Which brings us to the big question, what's the solution? If the market is demanding experts, how do you prove you're one of them? Well, the new mandate is something one source is calling digital authority. See, it's no longer enough to just be good at what you do. You have to be the recognized expert online. One of our sources just puts it perfectly. The market is actively punishing the generalist approach. But for the expert, that attorney, that broker, that consultant who uses digital media to show they have deep knowledge, the rewards are absolutely massive. The game has changed big time. So what is digital authority exactly? Well, it's being the person who pops up first when someone asks an AI assistant, who's the best commercial real estate broker in Torrance? But it's more than that, right? It's the architect whose LinkedIn articles on designing R&D labs get shared by tech execs. It's the mortgage broker whose TikToks clearly explain how to use stock options for a down payment. It's all about being findable, credible, and just dominant in your digital space. Now, that might sound a little intimidating, but it really doesn't have to be. Let's break down a simple blueprint for building that authority.
We're going to look at two incredibly powerful and efficient techniques to get your expert platform built right now.
Okay, first up is a technique called content farming. Seriously, forget about trying to come up with ideas for content. The whole idea here is to treat your daily business like a farm. Every single conversation you have with a client, every problem you solve, every sale you close, that's a seed for a piece of content. You're already doing the hard work. This is just about capturing it and turning it into something you can share with the world.
This second technique is a total game changer for efficiency. It's called the vertical slice. Think about the old way, right? You film a long video for YouTube, then you try to refilm some separate awkward video on your phone for TikTok. It's double the work. The smart way? You film once in high-res 4K, making sure you're framed right in the center. The full wide shot, that goes to YouTube, and then you just crop the center part, that vertical slice, for a perfectly formatted video for TikTok and Reels. This case study just shows you the power of this whole approach. A personal trainer could waste hours trying to make two separate videos, or they could spend 20 minutes in a studio just talking about what they know. From that one single recording, editors can create the full YouTube video and pull out the perfect 45-second vertical slice for social media. It's one effort, maximum impact, and it looks way more professional. That is how you build authority at scale.
So as we wrap this up, the conclusion from all this is crystal clear. The economic rules of the South Bay are being fundamentally rewritten by these huge forces of technology and capital. The old models are breaking down, but a new, much more specialized model is rising with incredible speed. So the only real question left is, are you going to be a victim of this change, or are you going to be one of the people holding the pen, writing the next chapter?